Joining us now from our London bureau is the Deputy Editor of The Independent on Sunday, James Hanning. Thank you very much for joining us on Lateline.
Hi, Emma.
Now, the committee has said that Rupert Murdoch is not a fit person to run a major international company. What are the implications of that on public policy, both in the UK and I guess in the US, where News Corporation is headquartered?
Well, who knows what the effect in the States will be. In Britain, let me just take you back one step. The committee actually was not unanimous in saying that. That was the majority, and that was the view that Tom Watson, the irrepressible Labour MP, that's the view that he's been pushing. Now, the Conservatives on the committee didn't endorse that line. That particular line, saying he's not fit to run a public company, was disputed. Now, what the majority decided is that they would go with this line, but there is a dissenting view. So Murdoch's people already are saying, oh, the report lacks credibility and so on. But actually, the language otherwise is very, very strong, and they're very critical. What they've done there is to send two messages: one to Ofcom, the controller which is the regulator of the media in Britain. And they're saying, well, look, these people are not reliable. They shouldn't be involved in running B-Sky B. And secondly, I think they're sending a message to the Director of Public Prosecutions, who has had a file on his desk for a year from the police, suggesting that there is a degree of corporate responsibility and that possibly there should be charges in that direction against the Murdochs.
Well, indeed, 25 people or so have been arrested, but we've seen very little in the way of charges all round.
That's right. The whole thing is it's got, I mean, as you know as well as anyone, I know you covered this story at some length when you were in London. There's been a kind of blizzard of events and so on with Lord Justice Leveson's inquiry and so on, and everybody's kind of treading on eggshells and being very careful. Now, some people are saying, well, why didn't the police just get on and charge them? Well, actually, as time goes on, more and more evidence comes out, and I think the police feel, well, what's the rush? We want to get this absolutely right. As you know better than anyone, they didn't cover themselves in glory last time round, between 2006 and 2010. So they really want to get it right, and that's why they're not rushing.
There was a unanimous view by the committee formed about three particular individuals, that being Les Hinton, the former executive chairman of News International, Tom Crone, the lawyer, and Colin Myler, the editor of the News of the World. Do you expect them now, having been accused of misleading the parliamentary committee, do you expect there potentially to be charges of misleading, contempt of the parliament?
Well, we're in uncharted waters here. I mean, we're supposed to have the mother of parliaments just over the road here, but actually our committee system is not that well formed. They've only been beefed up in the last 20 years or so. So. And I don't remember a report ever finding three people guilty of misleading it. So there is going to be, a motion put before the House. Now, nobody quite knows what that could lead to. Everybody's saying, well, they could be thrown in the tower. Well, I don't think they're going to do that, but who knows where it could lead?
Because at least one of those three gentlemen now doesn't even live in the UK.
That's right. I'm not sure where Les Hinton lives now, but certainly Colin Myler is working in New York. But I think what's particularly damaging about this report is what it says about Les Hinton. Because Les Hinton, as Lisa's report said, Les Hinton's worked with Rupert Murdoch for 50 years. Now, this report has found that he misled Parliament. That's pretty bad. And are we to believe that he kept Rupert from all this? Well, maybe that was his job to keep Rupert from all this, but it doesn't look very good. It really doesn't.
Well, indeed, the committee says that, albeit not all of them necessarily agreed on the wording, but Rupert Murdoch exhibited willful blindness and James Murdoch willful negligence. I mean, these are very strong words. Are we to take it from what you say and the fact that this is a bit sort of new terrain, that there is still potentially unlikely for anything to come from this?
Well, again, who knows? I mean, you'd need to ask the Director of Public Prosecutions that. The committee did not find a smoking gun against James and Rupert Murdoch, and this quibble about the words is the upshot of that. They feel they've proven that Myler and Tom Crone and Liz Hinton did mislead them. They have not satisfied themselves that was the case, and I understand that there was a lot of argument about that point. So this is the next best that they've been able to do. But I think we need to watch Leveson inquiry. Actually, this sort of zigzags between Parliament, the police, and Leveson, and so it's all lies on Leveson now, I think.
Well, in particular, when they refer to willful ignorance and point the finger at James Murdoch, they're referring there, aren't they, to this now infamous for Neville email, which is I guess the closest we get to a smoking gun, which formed the basis of a £750,000 payout, which many describe as hush money. I mean, I guess that's as far as they go, isn't it, in terms of that smoking gun you talk about?
Mm. Well, that's right. They haven't settled it beyond doubt, and who knows if they will. I mean, James Murdoch admitted that he did receive an email from I think it was Tom Crone, in which he said it looks pretty bad. There is a lot of evidence against us, and he's said, yeah, I didn't read that email properly. It was a very long email. I got it. I think he was coming back he was at an airport and he was meeting his children or something, so he didn't read it properly. Now, you can say, well, you should have done. As Mr. Shakespeare would say, he's either a fool or a knave. He either should have done or he did do, and he's not being entirely frank about it. That's where we are at the moment. We still haven't. That's an unresolved issue. And
parallel to all of this week, of course, we've seen Jeremy Hunt, the Culture Minister, in the frame because of what we've learnt at the Leveson inquiry. Yeah.
Now that's caused David Cameron a bit of embarrassment. He was called back to Parliament yesterday to explain why he wasn't asking a senior civil servant to look into Jeremy Hunt's behaviour, and he said, Jeremy Hunt will give evidence to Lord Leveson. So it's back to Leveson on that one. Cameron's shown a degree of irritation at all that, and he didn't want to be called back, and he wanted to be out campaigning for the local elections this weekend. But he will have to face the music himself in front of Lord Leveson in a few weeks' time, when he and Tony Blair and Gordon Brown have to give evidence. And I dare say it's possible that the Hunt episode will look like a sideshow. I wouldn't like to say. Especially
considering that one of the former editors of the News of the World Andy Coulson, was employed at the very heart of Downing Street by David Cameron himself.
That's right. Now, Cameron told the Commons last summer that he had been assured by Andy Coulson that Coulson had known nothing about the phone hacking and so on. Now, it's not quite clear exactly when Coulson gave Cameron that assurance. My understanding is that they're not entirely comfortable with answering questions on that, and again, we may learn more in the next few weeks.
James Hanning, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being with us.